Imagine running a race with no finish line. No tape to break, no podium to stand on, no final victory lap. Sounds exhausting, doesn't it? But what if I told you that this is exactly what true success looks like? Most of us have been taught that success is about reaching a destination, getting the promotion, hitting the revenue target, winning the trophy. But what happens when you get there? A brief moment of celebration, then what? The truth is, success isn't about winning. It's about staying in the game. It's about playing with purpose, growing, adapting, and leaving a legacy that outlasts us. The ones who thrive don't chase an ending. They commit to an infinite path. So today, let's talk about why true success has no finish line and why that's the most powerful way to live and lead. We live in a world obsessed with milestones. From an early age, we are taught to chase goals, to measure success by achievements, graduate from school, land the perfect job, buy the house, reach a certain income level. And while these moments bring a sense of accomplishment, there's something unsettling that happens when we finally get there. For a brief moment, we feel fulfilled. We celebrate, we enjoy the recognition, but then, almost immediately, a question creeps in. Now what? That feeling, one of emptiness or uncertainty, exists because we've been conditioned to see success as a destination rather than a journey. We believe that once we achieve a certain goal, we will finally feel complete, secure, and content. But life doesn't work that way. The moment we stop growing, the moment we stop learning, we begin to stagnate. Look at some of the most successful people in the world: entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, innovators. The ones who make a lasting impact are not the ones who simply reach a goal and stop. They are the ones who stay in the game, constantly pushing themselves to improve, to evolve, to contribute more. Take an athlete who wins a championship. For years, they have trained, sacrificed, and visualized that one victorious moment, and then it happens. They lift the trophy, they celebrate, and for a short while they are on top of the world. But the next season arrives. The competition doesn't disappear. The game doesn't stop. If anything, it becomes harder because now there is an expectation to maintain that level of excellence. The same is true in business. Companies that believe success is reaching the top of the market often find themselves declining the moment they assume they've won. The landscape changes, competitors emerge, and consumer needs evolve. The businesses that thrive are the ones that don't rest on past victories, but instead continue to innovate, to challenge themselves, to stay ahead. The real challenge is not in winning once. It's in staying relevant, staying hungry, and staying committed to growth. Success isn't a fixed point, it's a continuous process of becoming. Those who understand this don't chase an endpoint, they embrace the journey itself. They measure success not by a single achievement, but by the impact they make along the way, by the progress they continue to pursue, by the growth they commit to every single day. In every aspect of life, business, leadership, relationships, personal growth, there are two ways to think, with a finite mindset or an infinite mindset. And the difference between the two determines whether we burn out chasing temporary wins or build something that lasts. A finite mindset is built around the idea of winning. It sees success as a game with a clear set of rules, defined players, and a measurable outcome. It's about beating the competition, hitting short-term targets, and proving superiority. In a finite game, there is a beginning, a middle, and an end. There is a scoreboard, and at some point, someone is declared the winner while others lose. This way of thinking is common in business. Companies set revenue goals, market share objectives, and quarterly earnings targets. They measure success by numbers, by rankings, by outperforming rivals. And while there is nothing wrong with having goals, the problem arises when those goals become the only thing that matters. A company with a finite mindset focuses on short-term victories, often at the expense of long-term sustainability. Leaders may cut costs recklessly, compromise values, or make decisions that provide immediate gains while sacrificing the future. The same applies to personal success. People with a finite mindset chase achievements as if they are the final destination. earning a degree, getting a promotion, reaching a certain salary. But once they achieve it, they often feel lost. The finish line they worked so hard for turns out to be just another checkpoint, and they find themselves asking, what now? An infinite mindset, on the other hand, recognizes that there is no final victory, there is no finish line. Life, business, leadership, all of it is an ongoing journey with no ultimate winner. The goal isn't to beat others, it's to keep playing, to keep improving, to keep growing. Leaders with an infinite mindset don't focus solely on quarterly earnings. They think about the long-term impact of their decisions. They build cultures that outlast them, companies that evolve beyond their tenure, and teams that remain strong long after they are gone. They don't just try to win today, they ensure they can keep playing tomorrow. In careers, an infinite mindset means we don't stop learning just because we've earned a degree. It means we don't settle just because we've reached a certain level of success. Instead of chasing an endpoint, we focus on continuous improvement, on evolving, on contributing in ways that matter beyond just personal gain. In relationships, a finite mindset seeks to win arguments or prove superiority, while an infinite mindset prioritizes connection, understanding, and long-term harmony. In leadership, a finite mindset is about power and control, while an infinite mindset is about influence and legacy. The most successful and fulfilled people, those who make a real impact, do not measure their lives by short-term victories. They don't see themselves as players in a game with an end. Instead, they embrace the infinite nature of their journey, knowing that the real goal is not to win, but to keep playing, to keep growing, to keep building something bigger than themselves. In business, in leadership, in life, there's a fundamental choice we all have to make. Do we chase immediate results, or do we build something that truly matters? The difference between those who make a short-term impact and those who create lasting legacies comes down to one simple principle: purpose over profits. For decades, companies have been taught that success is measured in numbers: revenue, market share, stock prices, and yes, these things matter. No business can survive without financial health. But the mistake many organizations make is assuming that profits alone will sustain them, that if they just focus on selling more, scaling faster, and increasing margins, they will win. But businesses that operate this way often find themselves in a cycle of constant struggle, chasing quarterly results, cutting costs at the expense of people, making decisions that maximize short-term gains while sacrificing long-term trust. The most successful companies in the world don't just focus on what they sell or how much they make. They focus on why they exist. They have a clear purpose that drives every decision, a mission that goes beyond dollars and cents. And because of that, they inspire loyalty, not just from customers, but from employees, partners, and communities. Look at the companies people admire most. They aren't just the ones with the biggest profits. They are the ones that stand for something, the ones that treat employees like family instead of resources, the ones that innovate not just to increase revenue, but to make the world better in some way, the ones that customers don't just buy from, but believe in. It isn't just about corporations. It applies to individuals too. In our own careers, we can approach work in two ways. We can chase the paycheck, the promotion, the corner office, or we can focus on purpose, on doing work that aligns with our values, that brings meaning, that contributes to something greater than ourselves. Those who choose purpose over profits are the ones who don't just succeed, but find fulfillment in what they do. When the only focus is profits, we make decisions out of fear. Fear of missing targets, fear of losing market share, fear of falling behind. But when we operate from purpose, we make decisions out of conviction. And that changes everything. A company focused only on profit will cut corners to save money. A company driven by purpose will invest in its people, knowing that engaged employees create better products and services. A company focused only on profit will push aggressive sales tactics. A company driven by purpose will build relationships, knowing that trust leads to long-term success. Purpose is what keeps people engaged even when things get tough. It's what keeps organizations moving forward even in uncertain times. It's what builds trust, inspires loyalty, and creates something far more valuable than short-term financial success. We are wired to seek stability. From an early age, we are taught to have a plan, to set clear goals, to follow a structured path. We are told that if we just do the right things, get the degree, land the job, follow the rules, success will follow. But the world doesn't work that way. No matter how much we plan, uncertainty is inevitable. Markets crash, industries evolve, companies rise and fall, careers take unexpected turns. Life throws challenges at us that we never saw coming. And in these moments, we have a choice. Resist uncertainty and try to control the uncontrollable, or embrace it and learn to adapt. Most people fear uncertainty because it feels like a loss of control, but the truth is, control is an illusion. The people and organizations that thrive are not the ones who try to predict every outcome, but the ones who build the resilience to navigate the unknown. Look at some of the most successful businesses in history. They didn't succeed by sticking to rigid plans. They succeeded by adapting when things didn't go as planned. Apple didn't set out to be the world's leading smartphone company. They started as a computer company. Netflix didn't begin as a streaming giant. They started by mailing DVDs. Amazon was once just an online bookstore. These companies didn't let uncertainty paralyze them. They embraced it, pivoted, and evolved. The same applies to individuals. Think about the most successful and fulfilled people, not just those who have achieved wealth or status, but those who truly love what they do. More often than not, their paths were anything but linear. They faced setbacks, failures, moments of doubt. But instead of seeing uncertainty as a roadblock, they saw it as an opportunity to grow, to learn, to reinvent themselves. Yet most of us spend our lives trying to avoid uncertainty. We crave guarantees. We look for the safest path, the most predictable outcome. And in doing so, we often limit ourselves. We stay in jobs that no longer inspire us because we fear what's next. We avoid taking risks because we don't know if they'll pay off. We choose comfort over challenge even when we know deep down that challenge is where real growth happens. But uncertainty isn't the enemy. It's the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and progress. Every breakthrough, every new idea, every bold move comes from stepping into the unknown. The greatest leaders, the most successful entrepreneurs, the most fulfilled individuals all have one thing in common. They don't run from uncertainty, they embrace it. Because uncertainty isn't something to fear, it's something to harness. It's the space where possibilities exist, where new opportunities emerge, where we discover what we're truly capable of. And those who learn to navigate it not by seeking control, but by staying adaptable, resilient, and open to change, are the ones who don't just survive, but thrive. In every industry, in every profession, in every aspect of life, we are told to chase success, to strive for the next achievement, the next award, the next recognition that proves we've made it. Trophies, titles, accolades, they serve as validation, as proof that our hard work has paid off. And yet, when we step back and look at those who have made the greatest impact, we realize something profound. Success is not measured by trophies. It's measured by the legacy we leave behind. Trophies fade, titles are temporary, records get broken. No one remembers who won Employee of the Month 5 years ago, who had the highest sales figures in a given quarter, or who got the biggest bonus last year. What people do remember, what truly lasts, is the impact we have on others. Look at the world's most influential leaders, thinkers, and changemakers. The ones we admire, the ones whose names we still speak long after they are gone. They weren't chasing trophies. They were chasing meaning. They weren't focused on being the best for themselves. They were focused on making things better for others. There is nothing wrong with wanting to achieve success. Goals matter, hard work matters. Winning in and of itself is not a bad thing, but when the pursuit of personal achievement becomes the sole focus, we miss out on something greater. We become so consumed by external validation that we forget to ask the bigger question, what will I leave behind? Leaders who prioritize trophies lead with ego. They make decisions based on what will make them look good in the short term, rather than what will serve their people in the long run. They take credit instead of giving it. They focus on personal gain instead of collective growth. And they measure their success by how many people work for them, rather than how many people they have helped rise. But true leaders, those who build something that lasts, lead with legacy in mind. They create cultures that outlive them, teams that thrive even after they step away, organizations that continue to grow long after their name has been forgotten. They mentor, they teach, they lift others up. They don't just focus on building wealth, they focus on building people. They don't just accumulate power, they empower others. The same is true in any profession. A great teacher isn't remembered for the number of awards they won, but for the students whose lives they changed. A great doctor isn't measured by how many certificates are on their wall, but by the lives they saved. A great entrepreneur isn't defined by their net worth, but by the impact their ideas had on the world. Even in our personal lives, this truth applies. At the end of our journey, people won't talk about the titles we held, the cars we drove, or the size of our bank accounts. They will talk about how we made them feel, how we showed up for them, how we inspired, supported, and contributed in ways that truly mattered. Because in the end, trophies collect dust, titles get replaced, achievements fade, but legacy lives on. Every great achievement, every breakthrough, every story of success has one thing in common: perseverance. The ability to keep going even when everything feels uncertain, even when failure seems inevitable, even when the path forward is unclear. Because the truth is, success is never a straight line. It's messy, it's unpredictable, it's filled with obstacles, setbacks, and moments where giving up feels like the only logical option. And yet, the ones who make it, the ones who leave a mark, who change industries, who redefine what's possible, are never the ones who had the easiest journey. They are the ones who found the courage to keep going. Courage is not the absence of fear. It's not the ability to push forward without doubt or hesitation. Courage is moving forward despite fear. It's standing back up after failure. It's choosing resilience when quitting feels safer. And it's what separates those who dream from those who actually build something meaningful. Think about any leader, innovator, or entrepreneur who has changed the world. They all have something in common. At some point, they faced adversity that could have stopped them in their tracks. They heard the doubters, they encountered rejection, they failed, sometimes publicly, sometimes repeatedly, but they didn't let failure define them. They used it as fuel. They adapted, they learned, and most importantly, they didn't stop. Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper job because he was told he lacked imagination. Steven Spielberg was rejected from film school multiple times. Oprah Winfrey was told she wasn't fit for television. And yet, they pushed forward, not because they had guarantees, not because they knew they would succeed, but because they refused to let failure be the end of their story. But this isn't just about famous success stories. This is about the everyday battles we all face. The entrepreneur who invests everything into a business that isn't taking off as fast as they hoped. The artist who pours their soul into their work, only to be met with criticism. The athlete who trains for years, only to fall short in competition. The parent who struggles to provide. The student who feels overwhelmed. The leader who doubts whether they are making a difference. In these moments, it's easy to believe the lie that struggle is a sign to stop. That if it's this hard, maybe it just wasn't meant to be. But the truth is, every meaningful pursuit will test you. It will challenge you. It will ask you, how much do you really want this? Courage isn't about never wanting to quit. It's about choosing not to. It's about finding the strength to take one more step even when you can't see the whole path. It's about understanding that failure is not a dead end. It's a detour, a lesson, a necessary part of growth. Because the reality is, those who succeed are not always the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest. They are the ones who simply refused to stop. They are the ones who, when faced with adversity, didn't back down. They kept moving, kept learning, kept believing, even when no one else did. The courage to keep going is not something you're born with. It's something you build. It's a decision you make every single day to keep pushing, to keep growing, to keep fighting for what matters. There is no final destination in success, no ultimate victory, no finish line where we get to stop and say, I have arrived. The moment we treat success as a fixed point, we begin to decline. But when we embrace the infinite path, when we shift from a finite mindset to an infinite one, we unlock a deeper sense of purpose, resilience, and fulfillment. The greatest leaders, the most impactful innovators, and the most fulfilled individuals all understand this. Success is not about trophies, profits, or reaching a predetermined goal. It's about continuous growth. It's about pursuing purpose over short-term gains. It's about staying in the game, even when uncertainty makes the future unclear. The road will never be smooth. There will be failures. There will be moments of doubt. But those who make the biggest impact are the ones who keep going, who embrace uncertainty, who see obstacles not as stop signs, but as stepping stones. At the end of the day, true success isn't measured by how much we've accumulated, but by the legacy we leave. It's about the people we inspire, the lives we touch, and the difference we make not just for ourselves, but for those who come after us. So the question is not, how do we win? The question is, how do we keep playing? How do we keep learning, keep growing, and keep building something bigger than ourselves? Because the ones who stay in the game, the ones who commit to the journey rather than the destination, those are the ones who truly change the world.